from there, we now come back to studio and train our focus on our health segment this Tuesday morning, looking at stroke awareness. And just to let you in, this is being looked at as one of the leading factors of disability globally. And even as we speak about that, we're looking at millions who suffer from one stroke or the other, still on a global capacity. And as we look into the Stroke Awareness Month, just coming in the next 5 days in the month of May, we look at the causes, the effects, the risk factors, treatment, prevention measures of what is called stroke, and also how we can integrate those who have been affected by one form of stroke or the other. That forms base of our discussion for the next 50 minutes or so. And I am holding court with Emily Nyanumba to my far right, who is a neurorehabilitation expert and also an instructor at KMTC. Right next to her is Nyambega, who is a stroke and CVDs survivor and also the chair Stroke Association of Kenya. Lady and gent, karibu sana to the program.
Thank you so much.
Before we just get to stroke awareness, looking at causes, effects, let's just begin by understanding your practice, Emily. Neurorehabilitation. I really have to pronounce this very slowly so that I don't bite my tongue. What is this?
Okay, Doreen, thank you so much for the opportunity. Now, when we are talking of neurorehabilitation, neurorehabilitation, it's a branch of physiotherapy. Maybe let me talk of what is physiotherapy, and then I can come to the many branches of physiotherapy. Now, what is physiotherapy? Physiotherapy is actually human movement science. So what does that mean? That means as physiotherapists, our core work is to ensure that we maximize the physical potential of a human being. And this maximizing comes in when we have an injury or a disease. And for us to do that, we have many areas. Our scope of maximizing that human potential is actually dealing with all the body systems. Now, when we are talking of neurorehabilitation, this is one of the branch of physiotherapy. So in physiotherapy, we have many branches, like you can specialize in neurorehabilitation, and this neurorehabilitation is now dealing with those patients who have neurological conditions and cardiovascular conditions which are affecting the functioning of a human body. So that is neurorehabilitation. So, and we also have other branches like orthopedic manual therapy. Now this is whereby physiotherapists come in and they try to maximize human potential in when the structures like bones, tissues, joints are affected. And again, we have another branch of what you call sports medicine in physiotherapy. Now, this is a branch which is concerned with rehabilitating those athletes or those who participate in various sports after they have gotten various injuries. Then again, we have women health. Now, these are physiotherapists who are concerned with pelvic floor muscles. Yeah, when a mother has given birth and they have issues with their muscles of the pelvic girdle, what happens? So as physios, we can come in and try to strengthen those muscles. And also we have pediatric. Now this is whereby we are managing various conditions in children. The conditions range from neurological conditions like CP. We have orthopedic conditions like CTV, all those. So those are the various branches of physiotherapy. So when we are talking of neuro, basically dealing with neurological conditions which are causing disabilities and also cardiovascular conditions. Yes.
But ideally this is a form of physiotherapy.
Actually, this is physiotherapy, which
just
I call
easy understanding.
Yes,
physiotherapy.
Yes.
And I'll come to you, Evans, because you have a story, much as you're the chair of SAUK, that is the Stroke Association of Kenya. But before we get to that, Emily, just so that we can create context to this discussion, now that we understand what basically you do in your practice, what causes this stroke?
Okay, actually I can say that stroke is either a cardiovascular condition or a neurological condition. So what do we mean when we are talking of cardiovascular condition? Now these are conditions which are affecting the heart, the blood vessels, and also the blood itself. Actually that is the cardiovascular system. And when again we say that stroke is a neurological condition, it's because when we are talking of blood, all the cells in the body, they need blood to survive. Now, stroke becomes a neurological condition because the nerve cells, these are the cells which are found in the brain. The nerve cells are depending on the blood which is circulating in the brain. So now, if we don't have blood, then that means the nerve cells are going to die. And
just hold it there. Allow me to butt in. I really want us to go very slowly so we can understand what exactly we're talking about. So from what I've gathered so far, the minute there's inefficient circulation of blood in the brain, that automatically causes stroke.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, I'm following.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for following. So now, we are saying that the nerve cells, for them to survive, they need blood. Why do they need this blood? It's because the blood is where oxygen is carried in. The blood is where all the nutrients are carried in. So now, when there's an interruption of blood flow in the brain, then that means the brain cells, which you're calling the nerve cells, they're going to die. And then once they die, automatically, that is stroke. So now stroke is simply the interruption of blood flow into the brain. Yes.
In simple description, interruption of blood flow. And I know there are various other factors that would lead to stroke, and we'll come to that momentarily. But before then, Evans, you are a stroke survivor.
Exactly.
Just walk me through how that happened before you got to this point whereby now would call you a survivor and a whole chairman of the Stroke Association of Kenya. What are the events that led to that condition?
Thank you for the question.
Yes.
Doreen. And I'm happy to be here today. Now, when we talk about stroke, as Nyanumba said, actually this is an accident of the brain, meaning that your blood is disturbed circulating in one area, so that now the supply is interrupted. Now, actually since 2010, I've been living in this condition.
These are 13 years.
Yeah, those are 13 years ago. So this is not an easy thing. It is a journey that has a lot of problems. One, you need to take medication. Two, you need to go to physio, so that the body now, it continues to grow. Because when you have gotten the stroke, it means that actually some part has no regular blood flow. That is why we go to physio, so that they can wanaweza fanyia sisi ukarabati, so that it now starts again functioning.
So prior to 2010, you were just living.
Yeah, I was actually.
Allow me to say it as that normal, as we.
Yeah, just like you.
Yes.
Like her.
Normal kind of life, as we should say.
Yes.
So what is this that happened in 2010? Was this just a sudden flow of blood that stopped in the brain? Was there something that happened? What exactly was this, Evans?
Actually, a good question indeed.
Yes.
I cannot say it's sudden. Why? Because there are signs that it gives.
Okay.
earlier. But you know, you
Like
can't.
what?
But you know, you can't interpret. You take it as normal. For example, there was on and off headache.
Okay.
Okay. There was on and off what you called you know, about you know, remembering things which you plan in the morning. I want to do ABCD, but all of a sudden it is
You forget?
yeah, you forget.
Okay.
You can just want to go and pick something from the house. Then on reaching there, you don't have that
can't
thing in the mind anymore. And then you start again.
And you just really can't
remembering.
remember.
Yeah.
You can't.
Because the body temperature also was also an issue. So those are the signs that this thing was giving earlier. But you see, I was taking it as normal. You see, I didn't know. But you see now, with time, and of course after visiting the clinics and all this, they give us all this information. Such that now we are not as green as we were. So there are signs that it gives, and these are the signs. Now we should now talk about around those signs,
Yes.
so that we tell people that when you get all these things, it is not normal. It is it is reminding you that no, do something about it.
Yeah, I hear
Okay.
you. I hear you.
And these things are caused by what we eat.
Okay.
Basically, is what we eat. That's why we have all these problems.
Your diet.
Yeah, your diet, like nyam chom. You know, it's so sweet, but you see, it has repercussions.
I hear you. Just hold it there. We'll come to that in a short while. But there are things that you're mentioning, and to someone who's watching,
Yeah.
even for me, let me just speak for myself.
Yeah.
I would assume these are just those normal symptoms that you would experience, especially if you're fatigued, from a tired.
Yeah, even fatigue. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, because you talk about on and off headaches.
Yeah.
You talk about forgetting very quickly.
Yeah.
You talk about body temperature rising.
Yeah.
And I want to get your mind on this one, Emily, because you get such kind of signs on a normal day, and the easiest thing is to go to the counter. You get that Panadol, for instance.
That's right.
You get, you know, the syrup for your temperature. Or you just say, okay, it's fine. Forgetting, let me just sleep, I'll wake up and I'll remember all these things I was supposed to do. From your practice, listening to what Evans is saying, are these some of the symptoms that patients would come and say, months prior to this, or years prior to this, I was experiencing this oftentimes. I was just like, it's normal.
Yes.
Is this the same case scenario? Is it the same story?
Yeah, actually, one thing I can talk about cardiovascular conditions, they don't have cardinal signs that can tell you that this is pure stroke. Yes, so people tend
So
to...
there's no standard
There's no...
that will say this is peculiar sign of an oncoming stroke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's none.
Yeah, because when you look at headache, he has talked of headache. Sometimes even if you don't sleep well, you tend to get headache.
Yeah.
If you're tired and stressed, you'll get headache. So people tend to assume that this is just a normal headache. So what I can say that some of these cardiovascular conditions, they don't have cardinal signs that we can use and say this is pure stroke. But then again, we are being told that any time when you experience such signs like headache, fatigue, loss of memory, that is not normal. That is something that you need for a checkup so that you find out what is happening. Yeah, but now as Kenyans, because we know it's normal, I'm tired, so therefore I have an headache, so we tend to assume. And that's why now stroke just happens because you saw some signs, but you ignored them.
You ignored them.
Yeah.
So anytime you see these signs, much as we will say and think it's normal, it is not normal.
It's not normal.
All right, I hear you. Well said. So now, Evans, this is 2010. You've been seeing the signs, you ignored, but now this has happened.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how life was after this diagnosis, and now you realize it will not go back to normal as it were, at least for some time, so to speak.
First of all, there are two scenarios here. Before and after.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, before, I was very strong. Very strong. I was doing things rightly. But you see, I was doing them in excess because I didn't know. Okay? Like previously, before a stroke, like 99, before that, I had engaged myself in beer. Okay? And then such things, you know, they may not give you the results immediately. The results, you know, you experience much later. Okay? Because now, even if I had left beer, I had developed a peculiar thing called, you know, the body temperature was
Very high?
Was high, on and off, you know. And I used to bath with cold water, but I all of a sudden I found out that I was switched to hot.
Warm water.
Yeah, warm water. So I was trying to ask myself what may have happened, but I could not get an answer. Okay. In the meantime, the stroke thing was still digging into me. Then after now 2010, you know, at 2010, I found out that that fateful day, I was unable to, you know, to wake up because I was a very early riser. I was unable to wake up. Then after...
So it just happened in a split like this?
Yeah.
Just one day, just...
Yeah, it's one day. Actually, I was unable to, after failing to wake up, all of a sudden, I was now not able to think. You know, I could not think. I'm just there. I cannot make a decision, you know, on what is really happening to me. And then now I was told I slept. Okay, after sleeping, in fact, I came to wake up after like 10 or 12 days.
Wait.
Okay, because this thing happened in my rural home. Okay, then my brother came, took me to an health center that was around, told them, look at this young man, I'm going to work, and if there is anything, let me know. Okay. I was told they never discovered anything. Okay, so I was just there. Then the following day he took me to level 5, which is KC there. I was, they were able to get a CT scan, but the interpreter of the CT scan was not around. This is now like the 4th day or 5th day. Then
at this time, this 40th day, you
I'm still asleep.
You're not able to think.
I'm not able to.
So asleep meaning you're not eating?
No.
What is happening?
Eating, they tell me I was eating. But I could not, you know, I could not, you know, open my eyes.
So you are literally just there?
I was just there. Okay. Then they decided to move me from level 5 to 10 work. 10 work is in Pomet. Then they were told that the Mzungu normally handles stroke, such cases, left yesterday to America, but he's coming after maybe like a day. He never came. Then you see, like, this is the days are going. Then now this was like almost 7th or 8th day. Then my handlers, who are my brothers, decided that my wife was here in Nairobi. Made arrangements in Kenyatta because she has NHIF. Then I was now flown, taken from there by ambulance up to here. That's like 10th or 11th day. So it was a bit tricky, but in all, I was...
So for 11, 12 days, you don't know what is happening?
I don't know what's happening. But now, in that, maybe that could be the 12th day, I was able to see when I'm in the hospital. I could see here, I think, I can hear. But I can see this is like an hospital. But where
after 12 days?
Yeah, but where is this? Then, it was... Anyway, it is... it was a sad moment for me, but I'm happy now that at least after undergoing all those, I'm able to be alive. I thank God.
Indeed, we do.
Yeah.
We do thank God.
Thank God.
What he's saying, Emily, orients my next question, because now I'm looking at effects. And I'd also just want to understand, how is that possible that for 12 days, you literally are not functioning? You are not dead? Can we say you're alive, but you don't know? Okay, just what, from your practice, what is this?
Okay, thank you for that question. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Actually, I'm surprised to hear that story, that he stayed for close to 12 days without getting medical attention.
Yeah.
Now, he was still alive.
Yeah.
And that's why he's still alive up to now. So now, what happens when we are talking of stroke? Now, when you get stroke, actually we have two types of stroke. We have what you call hemorrhagic stroke, and we have
what's that?
Hemorrhagic stroke and ischemic stroke. Now, ischemic stroke is when these blood vessels in the brain are blocked, meaning there's no blood flow. So a particular part of the brain dies because the blood vessels are blocked, so there's no blood flow. We also have hemorrhagic type of stroke. Now, hemorrhagic, this is when the blood vessels tend to burst. So it means they become weaker and weaker. Now, when the pressure is too high, what happens? They're not able to take that pressure, high pressure. So what happens? They burst. Now, when we are handling this type of strokes, at first, you may not know what the patient is suffering from. And management, the best management of stroke is the time period that was taken from the time the stroke occurred up to the time first treatment was done.
Just hold it there, Emily. I want us to take a very quick breather, so that when you come back now, you explain to us that, so that now we can actually relate to what Evans was saying and trying to understand how it's possible that you can stay 12 days. You don't know what is happening to you. You're literally unconscious in a way that you don't understand, yet you're very much alive, not dead.
You're a cabbage.
You know?
Yes.
So let's take that breather. We circle back and you explain to us more about that and just how this management would come about and how it will save the day. All right, time for that breather. We recoil with plenty more of this conversation, so don't go anywhere. Stay with us. this conversation is just good off air as how it was on air. And welcome back. We continue our pace with this discussion looking at stroke awareness. This is in preparation for the Stroke Awareness Month coming in next month. That is in the month of May. And before we took that break, Emily, because I was just trying also to understand all this while we were off air. But then you're telling us about the management, because in my head I was trying to reconcile how you will be well, still kind of not well in 12 days. The only thing that's happening to you is just breathing, but nothing else. How does this occur? You are telling me about the two types of strokes and the management of the same therein.
Yes, so now when we are talking of these two types of stroke, what will matter is the management of the two types of stroke. Now, we say that when stroke has occurred, we have a golden period of management, and that is within 3 hours to 3.5 hours. Now, during this time, that is the time now from the time when stroke has occurred up to the time you reach hospital and treatment starts. Now, if you're able to reach hospital within those 3 hours and treatment starts, then the neurological defects are able to be reversed back and someone can come back to normal.
So 3 hours is the standard?
3 hours actually is, we call it the golden period of stroke management.
Those 3 hours.
12 days?
No, you see,
No.
ignorance.
So because of now he stayed for 12 days, that's why we are seeing all the neurological deficits he's having. Otherwise, if he was managed within that period, then we won't have all these neurological deficits that we are seeing today.
Okay, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
So to avert all this after effects, like the disability, for instance, not being able to function as it were, it's quick management of the same.
That's
That's why
right.
you're saying the golden time frame, the standard maximum, I should say, it is the 3 hours.
3 hours.
For example, I will add something there. How will you know that a person is suffering from stroke? We use a system called FAST. Look at the face. It is, it is stripped.
In one direction?
Yeah, in one direction.
And just staying as such?
Yeah, the face. You look at like this. I will tell you, oh, what has happened? Because it will be like this. And then arm.
Okay.
We now take that person, raise up your hands. Ukiona badala ya mbili anachukua moja, ujue hapo sasa iko stroke.
So ingine
yeah, because it cannot come up. Okay?
That should tell you something already. Yes.
And then speech. What's your name? He cannot or she cannot, pronounce properly. Then you will just know that this is a stroke. And once you have confirmed this, now it is time to call an ambulance so that you can now take this patient to hospital, so that now within that period you are able to use the 3 hour window. Okay? So those are the things that we need to tell our people, so that as fast as we are able to do them, at least we can be sure we can go back to the way you were.
Yeah. To that normal.
That's right.
I mean, for you, God saved you, Evans. Regardless, 12 days and looking at the 3 hour window, and these are 12. These are hours on end.
True.
I think what saved me is just God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just God. And of course, such people, the physio, the doctors, were able to at least give me something.
The neurorehabilitator.
That's right. These are the
Yes.
So then you speak of this, because I was trying to ask earlier that how would then your handlers, if it's brothers, sisters, people around you, how would they just be sitting? The only thing you're doing is breathing, nothing else, and they will sit day 1, day 2, day 3, 1 week passes, almost 2 weeks.
The goodness.
And you're telling me it's because of the lack of information.
The goodness, okay, wherever they took me, like in in the first level 5.
Okay.
Okay, I was still in the hospital bed. But you see, they could not do...
What did the doctors say in that?
They could not get those people there.
There were no doctors?
Yeah.
So
because
who told you you are okay?
No, wherever they are taking me, they could be told we are not seeing anything.
That's what I'm asking. Who was this who said they can't see anything?
Yeah,
was this a clinician?
Like in the first, yeah, of course.
A clinician?
Like in the first...
clinical officer, actually.
Yes. They say they're not able to see anything.
So let me just bring Emily on that one. Emily, this is a clinical officer. And someone with more insight than probably maybe me or anybody else in terms of medicine, unless you've done your own research and you know. And they will tell someone like Evans, those 13 years back.
And not even me, my handlers.
Oh, your handlers, yeah, because at that point, you could listen.
I wasn't in a position to...
Thank you for that correction.
Yes.
Right, so then they would tell Evans' handlers that he's okay, we can't see anything wrong. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is someone who has that insight, the knowledge. So if we are talking about sensitization and creating awareness, does it need to start from there before we get to the community level? Because the first line of defense tells you are okay. And truth be told, you are not.
I think they lack the facilities, and of course, once they have said that they're not seeing anything, I mean, how?
Yeah, of course you believe that, because I mean they're the first line of defense. Yeah. So is it a question of facility, Emily, or is it that there's something wrong with the teaching practice? What is it?
Actually, it's about everything.
It's everything.
It's about everything. Starting from the facilities. Yeah, starting from the facilities. Again, going to the clinicians in those areas. Okay. And of course, we are not talking of areas in Nairobi where people have this knowledge. We are talking of the facilities back at home, whereby there's a clinic, there's a dispensary, but we don't have even a clinical officer. Yeah. Yeah. What we have, maybe these are nurse aides, yeah, who are not well trained, and they're the ones who are posting like clinical officers. They're the ones who are posting like doctors or medical practitioners. So what happens when you go to such a facility? First thing, you don't have qualified staffs, so they will not be able to diagnose that condition in the first place.
That's right.
And then again, you come, they don't have the right equipment to make the right diagnosis, because we say once you have done your physical assessment and you are sure this is stroke, and even you are sure that this is hemorrhagic or ischemic stroke, before you start any treatment, then you are supposed to do an investigation, either an MRI or a CT scan. Now from there, that's when you will be sure that I'm dealing with hemorrhagic stroke, because then again you cannot give treatment for ischemic to an hemorrhagic patient. So now once you have done the investigations, then you are able to know that's when you are going to now start your treatment. But then again, now we are seeing we don't have this right diagnosis, and that's how we end up having patient being taken back home in the name of you are okay. Yes.
Question of facility, okay, that would say maybe lies with national government, county governments, and there's been a lot of concern in the healthcare system of this country. Just the other day we heard of the various counties who are planning to go on strike because of non-payments, less doctors, not enough of them in these facilities. So really, when you respond to that in such a manner, I can really tie down to what exactly you're saying. But the question of not trained properly, does this present a loophole in our training facilities? Just as you respond to that, and maybe how can we go about that before we come to what you do in terms of awareness at SAL?
Okay, being a lecturer, I know that we train our students, we train our healthcare professionals well. Yeah, now what happens when they go down there? Remember, there's that knowledge that you got when you went to school in the first time. That knowledge, you're supposed to keep on upgrading it. Yeah. So what you find, what's actually is happening, people went to school, yes, they gathered knowledge, but remember, knowledge has changed over time.
Yeah.
Yes. So now if you don't go back to school, then it means you're still practicing that old knowledge which changed long time ago. So you don't have the updated, the current knowledge that people are using to practice. So now those are some of the things which make people not to get, to be able to make a proper diagnosis.
And early diagnosis.
And early diagnosis.
So that lies within the practitioner, that yes, you went to school,
Yes.
you understand the ropes of things, but as you're there,
Yeah.
keep upgrading.
Keep
I mean,
upgrading.
life is dynamic. It's never a straight line.
it's
So
very dynamic.
I
Yes.
hear you. So then,
Another thing, is, yes, most people, they are not aware of other professionals, what they do. Like now, when he was sent back home, if we had someone who was more, not more knowledgeable, but having an idea, if I don't have this facility, let me refer to
That's
another
another
hospital.
thing. Yeah.
Because if I'm not able to find a
As
diagnosis,
opposed to saying
but
it's
I'm
okay.
looking at this patient is looking sick, then let me make a referral to
yeah.
another hospital whereby they can be able to do those investigations. And also those other referrals, they have specialists who can be able to examine and come up with a diagnosis.
So then perhaps I'm seeing a bit of laxity, but I mean, that is a whole discussion altogether, because when I just listen to you respond to that in such a way, Emily, I'm seeing laxity, because yes, it's true, you don't have the facility, but as you say, why don't refer to another, you know, bigger hospital that perhaps has the requisite facilities to ensure that this patient is diagnosed properly and well, as opposed to saying, okay, you're okay, go home, and you can clearly see
This
they are
person is not okay.
Yeah. So then tell me, Evans, at Chair Stroke Association of Kenya South, talk to me about the kind of awareness you do, sensitization. Is it community level? Is it on also the practitioners bit? Because you've also gathered the fact that some don't even understand what this is. So how does your demographic look like?
Now, SAOK was formed following what happened, especially to me.
Yeah.
Because I felt we cannot go this way anymore. As I was going for my rehabilitation in Kenyatta first, I could find different faces, affected by a stroke. That is why I said, no, I think we better form this thing so that it can talk on our behalf. Okay? Then we formed it 2015. We were licensed by the registrar of societies. Then we started now creating awareness. In fact, the first awareness campaign was in Kenyatta Hospital, where we talked about risk factors, those things that affect us, so that you now get the stroke. Things like cholesterol, lack of exercise, water, things like there are actually many, mainly based on food. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have created awareness in several places, like in the consecutive years. 2016 we did it in Afia House down there. Then the following coming year we did it in Dagoretti. Okay. Then the following year we did in Kenyatta University, because we are not limited to any place.
How does the structure of this awareness look like, now that you're mentioning different places in different years?
Yeah, we invite experts to come and give talks, like her, like other doctors, so that we at the end of the day we create awareness among these people. Then we also give our stories. Okay, so this is how I was, this is how it happened. You see, Why are we giving stories? To inspire others.
I hear you.
Okay? Because unaona a stroke person thinks ako peke yake. Okay? Ya wengine wako ni yeye tu. So if you create, if you keep such testimonies, and you know, Kenyans like evidence-based things. Okay? They now agree, okay, I'm not alone. And then now you see, now healing as a process now starts. Okay?
I hear you.
But if you keep to yourself
Yes.
and live on denial, you will die and others will die. Okay?
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. So now,
So I am calling upon Kenyans to buy our idea of now spreading this stroke message that anybody who is affected, anybody who feels like those things that we have said, you should now come out and go for measurement. You know, you go, you measure your pressure, so that if you find out that it is high, they will advise you that now take the medicine A, B, C, D, and then we do exercises, and you'll be okay. This is that sentence.
I hear you. Thank you, Evans. And so then, just tell me, for this year's stroke awareness coming in beginning of next week for the stroke awareness month, where is it going to be taking place, and is it for the entire month?
Yeah, it is actually entire month, so that now we want to have people, measured, so that we want to get rid of this stroke and other cardiovascular conditions. You know, hatutaki wale ambao watakufa tena, wale ambao wamekufa wanatosha.
I hear you.
So this MMM month,
What does MMM mean?
MMM 3 times.
Yes, triple M.
Yeah, triple M is May month of measurement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that now we shall now have teams here and there to do all these things. Actually, it will be decided, and you will know exactly where it will happen. Yeah, because there are other.
So it's not yet decided.
No, not yet decided, but there are other handlers like Kenya Cardiac Society. Actually, this is a society that it contains the cardiologists. These are the people now who are leading us on this MMM month. So we shall be with them, and we shall participate.
I hear you. Yes. So then, Emily, we have about 4 minutes to exit this space, and so then I'd want us to also just look into prevention, because as Evans has also talked about those risk factors.
Yeah.
I mean, that is also one of those key things that we need to be considering. Who would have imagined how much diet really does go a long way? But so much so about even the treatment options, early diagnosis, as we've touched on a little bit earlier. Can this be prevented?
Yes. Remember, he has said one of the major causes is, and actually when we are talking in terms of causes, we have modifiable causes, and these are things like lifestyle, physical inactivity, we have diet, we have alcohol use, and tobacco use. Now those are modifiable because we can change them. So if they are modifiable, if we change them, then we can prevent stroke. Other factors are non-modifiable, like age, genetics, and race. Now, we can prevent stroke first by changing our lifestyles. Yeah. For example, being physically active. That's one way of making the heart muscles to be strong. And if the heart muscles are strong, then they're going to pump blood in the normal way. When we change on our diet when we eat a lot of saturated fats. Now, this is what goes and accumulates in the walls of the blood vessels, making the blood vessels too narrow, and also they become hard. So that when the blood pressure is very high, if they're very hard, they cannot expand. So that means they can easily burst. Now, if we can change our diet so that we eat a balanced diet, which has more fruits and vegetables, then by doing so, we are trying to prevent stroke. Okay, if we become physically active, then we are trying to prevent stroke. Another thing is we prevent smoking. Actually, we say smoking is the major cause of the cardiovascular conditions. So if we prevent smoking and we reduce the alcohol intake, then all those things will help us not to get a stroke. So another way we can prevent this stroke is by creating awareness, educating people about the stroke recognition signs, which are very key. Like he has talked of the acronym word FAST. What are the signs? Like if they were able to identify those signs, then they could have known that straight this is stroke. Let's take our patient to the right hospital, which can have the right facilities. So now, one way we can be able to do that is to make sure that each and every person is aware of the causes of stroke, okay?
And the signs also.
And the stroke recognition signs. So that once you see those, straight you know you are heading to hospital, and which particular hospital, which can have all those, the right facilities and also the right facilities and equipment to investigate the type of stroke. Yes.
So what I'm getting from this discussion is that much as we have the treatment options, prevention, like you did also touch on genetic, and I believe there's really nothing so much you can do about issues that are genetic, but I'm also seeing a lot of awareness.
Yes.
Because even if you talk about early diagnosis, but you don't know what exactly you're diagnosing, so then what is this? So awareness is very key. That's why we had you here,
very important,
you know, to talk to us about this awareness and what it means and entails, and it's coming up in the month of May.
And of course, Doreen,
as you finish.
Before you finish completely,
Yes.
Actually, we as SAOC are doing very important work. But you know, we have challenges here and there. I could like to ask the public, those who are able to help us to do it, they can go to our website. We have there, and
which is?
Website is www.strokeassociationofkenya .or.ke.
Okay.
And we need like a container for an office to create a resource center for the people to come and we help.
Thank you.
So we are actually asking the public, those who are able to give us a container, we shall be
much grateful.
Very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, Evans. I believe they have heard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that has been Emily Nyanumba to my far right, who is a neurorehabilitation expert and also an instructor at Kenya Medical Training College, that is KMTC. Right next to her is Evans Nyambega, stroke and CVDs survivor, and also the chair Stroke Association of Kenya, SAOC. Definitely what is formed center of this discussion is stroke awareness, and this is in preparation for the Stroke Awareness Month. Just what you and I need to know as far as diagnosis, treatment, prevention and awareness of stroke is concerned. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya. Of course, thank you so much for watching, and from me and on behalf of the entire team, asante sana. We do this again tomorrow. Have a beautiful Tuesday morning.
Thank you.